Warning: it is a felony to access or modify a computer system without written permission from that system's owner. To be safe, if you did not purchase the physical device, then you must have written permission beforehand. Hey everybody, I'm trying to get a little more polish to things and added a few new features you guys may or may not notice, but little quality of life improvements for people who maybe aren't watching on Twitch or YouTube. So for everybody else, the other nice thing I did was added the DLive integration, and well, I've been sending data to DLive. I've been streaming there for a little while now, but this case is that I'm going to be including their chat properly along with any sort of like notifications or alerts on the screen, just like we do for everybody else. So they've through some tricky changes I had to do to my system, I've been able to get that working finally. So finally got that functional. But yeah, for those of you that aren't aware, today is our technical deep dive. It is the day that we're going to be doing at least once a month, you know, provided we don't get a ton of people that have, you know, if I get an overwhelming amount of people that are asking a lot of really technical questions that I feel devotes more time than can be justified by one stream once a month, then I'll add more. But and if there's important news or things like that, then I'll also try to tackle those as well. It's just there's a number of circumstances where I think it's justified to have an extra stream on top of everything else. So what I've been doing is just sort of getting a lot of the little quirks and kinks worked out, because there's so many things in streaming that add complexity where you don't expect it. Like today, for instance, I was in the process of getting ready and realized that some of the software that I have for managing the chat actually had to be updated, and it was crashing the whole computer as a result. So kind of scary there, but I think we've got that mostly worked out, and all things considered, I think everything is fairly stable. Had a bunch of really cool updates this week that will definitely excite and hopefully get some people to take notice that wouldn't have otherwise taken notice, because we've got a number of pieces of software now that I've written that are able to do some fun things for us. But while we're here and kind of in this review mode, I just want to make sure that everyone is aware real fast of the stream website. That is at bhax.net. That's bhax.net. There you can find the live streaming schedule of events. You can find exactly where we stream, because we don't just stream where you're at. We've also got an interactive calendar that shows you a live calendar of events. We've also got viewer feedback where you can get in touch with me even if you're watching after the fact. We've also got the Discord server, which allows you, of course, to reach me, and we can do voice chat that way as well. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention real quick while we're getting everything started for the stream. And I think it's worth going into some of the fun stuff that we have. The thing that I think a lot of people will be really intrigued about is the I don't know. So here's the thing, and this is maybe we can call this an info download here. So when somebody is talking about what is a hack, what is a what do we describe when we're describing that? And I think this is important. I think this is really important for everybody to be aware of, because it's a little bit overused, maybe, to call so many things hacks. I think that we call them hacks when, I don't know, maybe I'm being a little bit too elitist about it, but in my perspective, a hack should require at least a little bit of technical expertise in order to execute. There should be hopefully something related to that in it. Because sometimes people will say like life hacks and stuff, and I get that, I understand. Because the central premise of a hack is creative problem solving. And I will be the first to say that that is what a hack is. It's creative problem solving. And it's the reason that we have to define it so broadly, because obviously that's a really broad term to describe such an important topic, is that you can do hacks in so many ways that it's unrealistic to say that you can narrowly define it as one or two things. So that being said, when I describe myself as having hacked Overwatch, I want you guys to realize that there is the type of hack that gains a person an advantage in Overwatch or any other game, and does so usually, if not always, by doing something malicious or unauthorized to the game itself or the game server. In this case, it would be Blizzard's Overwatch servers. And I didn't want to have any sort of confusion, because I know that there's going to be some people that are watching this that will say, he's hacking Overwatch and so it's all right, or he's hacking Overwatch and so reported, banned. Okay, well, the trick with that is that my hack actually doesn't even touch Overwatch. So here's the funny part. If I'm switching over to my desktop, which I'm going to do real quick. So what you're going to see here, this is my desktop. Like no joke. Here's my, see, I'm watching this is the chat for the on-air stream chat, which, by the way, if you guys are on our Discord server, you can hop in and take advantage of that. But I'm in here. I'm not in the game, okay? Now, what happens when I press the crouch button in this? Okay, well, let's hold it down. I'm holding it down now. And now I'm going to basically act as if I'm jumping. So I held down the crouch key and then I pressed spacebar, which is the requirement for Baptiste to do super jump, exo boot, super jump in the game. So this is more like a little bit like a soundboard configuration that I've made. It's a elaborate soundboard in the fact that it requires a certain set of keys to be pressed in a certain sequence in order to activate. For instance, if I just press tab, then it won't actually do anything. Or sorry, if I just press crouch on my system, it won't do anything. But if I do it in the right sequence in conjunction with spacebar, then it will actually execute the jump. So that's what it does in game, and so the game doesn't actually get tampered with at all. In fact, it has no real interaction with the game whatsoever, which isn't a hack like a lot of people would think. For me, this is achieving the overall result, which is making Baptiste make a Mario jump. And from your guys' perspective, it's seamless. It looks like the game's doing that. But from the perspective of the game, the game doesn't even know that that's happening. It doesn't know that I'm overlaying that sound on top of the game. And so that kind of helps us at least a little bit understand why this type of, we'll call it hack. I mean, I'm being generous when I call it a hack, because it's something that I had to kind of cobble together to make work right. And it interacts with my system in such a way that it creates an illusion that gives you the impression that Baptiste is doing the jump, which is the goal. So in my mind, the overall effect is achieved, because my goal is not to send hack into the game and change the game such that it has the Mario sound in the game's code. That doesn't work, because then there's unforeseen consequences. Maybe changing some of the code in the game, reverse engineering out Overwatch would cause something else to trigger. But most importantly, it would cause Overwatch's anti-cheat system to trigger, and I don't want to have any part of that. I'm trying to play the game and actually get good. I don't want to have Overwatch or Blizzard come after me and try to say that I was cheating in some way, because there's plenty of script kiddies and script kiddie is somebody who just goes on the web, downloads a thing, doesn't understand any of the code involved or the difficulty in making it or anything about it, and just simply does what it says. Follow the instruction, basically the equivalent of going to the store and getting pancake mix or biscuit mix or whatever, and following the directions on the back of the box, and wow, look at me, I'm a master chef, look what I made. No, you just got something prepackaged and followed the instructions. That's what a script kiddie is. The hacker in this case, or the chef, if you want to go with the analogy here, the chef or the hacker here is the person who likely made that recipe for them, or doesn't need the recipe in the first place because they are the recipe. And that's the kind of difference that I'm trying to draw this distinction for you guys, because there's lots of layers here with how we in the InfoSec community delineate who is what kind of thing. And there's some people that'll make delineations of like, oh, he's a cracker, he's a hacker, he's a popper. Like, so there's people that crack into things, that's cracker. People think, oh, cracker, no, it actually doesn't have anything to do with race. It's actually cracking into things. That's traditionally I've seen it used to describe like when you break license keys on things and distribute wares that way. But that's kind of like a cracker. A hacker would be somebody who actually breaks into things, going that extra length. But you can. The problem is that a lot of these things are so fluid that it's really difficult, depending on the type of activity that you're engaging in, to describe it so specifically. So a lot of times we just give us the blanket term hacker. You're just a hacker. But yeah. So that being said, this particular little hack, I guess we'll call it, I'm being generous, I know, is a soundboard. I'm actually trying to open up the source code right now. Here we go. Move this over to here. Let me collapse the project view and put it in presentation mode. All right, here we go. So, welcome. This is my code for making this work. And for those who are interested, no, this is not currently, it's on GitHub, but it says a private repository. I have a lot of my code on GitHub, but I don't always publish it all, because either I don't feel like it's ready for public release, or it's not something I want to be released yet. So in this case, I just don't think it has enough polish yet. There's still a few bugs, like sometimes it won't always catch the deal here. And I also want to have the ability to integrate this into a larger suite of utilities, which I'm calling it's called Project Tryhard, because I try way too hard. And part of it is that I am also making a dashboard. I can't move it on screen because I actually have it fixed on my other monitor. It actually creates a view portal on my other monitor, but it allows me to interact and moderate all the different chat programs that we have running for the stream. And I can control each of the services that I'm streaming to and independently view those in a nice detached portal on my monitor here. And the whole point of that is to kind of make my life a little bit easier, because you'll find that there's one recurring theme for all of my streams. When we're talking about programming, we need to talk about the fact that in order to get started with it, you have to have a thing that you're trying to solve for. Just trying to learn programming or just trying to get started to make a thing, well, what's your goal? Do you have a start and an end? Is there something you're reaching for? Is there something you're trying to solve for? If there isn't, then I don't see how you can actually learn to code or begin coding. You have to have a problem that you need to solve. And so that's what this is. This is solving a problem, and it bothered me enough that I took the time to do it. So that's really what all of this is about. That's the reason why I took so much time, because it was bothering me. It was annoying. And so I'll just kind of jump into the code here. And you guys, this is actually the source code for anyone who's not familiar with Python. It is a rather beautiful language. And I'm using PyCharm Professional. This is the 2019.2 edition, I believe, either 0.1 or 0.2. And so you can see some of this code is scavenged from places around the web, and other is completely new. For the most part, that's kind of how I code, is I'll get little snippets here and there, mostly just kind of giving me the breadcrumbs that I need in order to complete what I'm trying to do. Kind of the equivalent of referring to a dictionary when you're trying to complete a crossword puzzle. Maybe you don't have the entire dictionary's knowledge at a moment's notice in your memory, but you at least know where you can reference it. And that's kind of the concept here. It's not about memorizing every little tiny thing, but in fact, it's more about knowing where you can look that information up so that you can then put something together that's of greater complexity than you could before. So what I basically started with is I wanted to be able to watch my keyboard, similar to how my Razer mouse and keyboard work, in that they have systems which just simply wait for a button to be pressed. It doesn't matter where the button was pressed. If I have my spacebar bound to a key on my Stream Deck or on my mouse or as a special whatever on my keyboard, it doesn't matter, because the system registers that as a spacebar or as a control or crouch or whatever. So those are global events, global to the whole computer. So all processes usually see those depending on how you do it. And so the idea here is that I'm watching for the button that does the crouch key, which in my case, I've rebound intentionally to the tab key. And you might say, well, that's stupid. Why would you do that? Well, that's so that I can discourage myself from using the control key, because I'd gotten so used to using the control key that it was actually causing me to press it on accident when I didn't want to use that key. I didn't want to use my pinky. I wanted to use the side of my thumb, my right hand. So I bound tab. My 4 key here on my mouse is actually the tab key. That's my tab key. And so when I'm going and crouching, I'm actually pressing the 4 button on my right hand, my mouse button. And that gives me the ability to do that without wasting that extra motion with my left hand, which is already doing a bunch of other stuff as well, on top of trying to guide me and move me around and do jumps and things. I didn't want to also have to worry about that. So my finger I'm sort of left with an extra action that I can accomplish without having to tie up my pinky for something else. So it's bound that way. And you'll see that if key equals tab, that's literally all that's it. That says if the key is tab, then do all this stuff. And what I'm doing is, without getting too far into the weeds on this piece of it, I'm basically doing some lazy coding because I wanted this to be quick and dirty. It's kind of a prototype. I'm going to move this into more what's called a classful object-oriented system. But right now it is just defined by global variables outside of a scope that has just a collection of functions, which are these definitions, function definitions. And you see I even reference global variables here, which is a very big no-no when we're talking about programming. Most of the time people say, what the hell, you're doing global variables, get out of here, you noob. But in the case of prototyping, I just needed to get this working well enough to have something functional to be able to use today, tomorrow, and Thursday, so that I could, refine it if needed. I do find that there are some times where it's really obnoxious because I'm seeing that it doesn't always catch it, and you'll see that sometimes too, where I'm executing the correct sequence of commands, and it doesn't always play the sound. And I could couch that with, it's not so bad because it keeps it from being spammed over and over and over again, because after a while, I think you could probably see that it would be a little annoying to have that Mario sound played all the time. But I'd really like to make it a little more reliable and then choose to add rate limiting to it later. But at least from my perspective, it's not so bad. So we're catching the key up, which is the release of a key, and then we're also catching the key down event. And this is actually a multi-threaded process. So in Python, we are opening a listener, and this is a Python 3 construct using a with statement, and that's creating a listener, which I know some of this is like, way up in space too high, like way more, way higher level than you're prepared to absorb. And to be fair, it's not always true that I can fully.
What is this?
Oh yeah. So thanks for the question, Matt. That's good, because I was actually making sure that because I was seeing that Mixer was not sending earlier, so it's good to hear that it's actually working. So what this is I've actually written we're going to loosely call it a hack for Overwatch that allows me, when I'm playing as Baptiste, if you're familiar with Overwatch.
And Matt Star Killer is now following.
Oh, cool. Thanks for the follow there, Matt. Awesome. But yeah, so what this does is it will intercept keystrokes as they're being sent to Overwatch, well, really to the computer itself, and I insert the Mario sound whenever I do a big jump in Overwatch. So I was just kind of stepping through. This is our technical deep dive day. Normally we would be playing like Overwatch or another game throughout the week, but today is our nerd kind of deep dive into the weeds. So I thought I'd step through. This is the actual source code of what I wrote over the weekend. It's kind of a quick and dirty prototype running in Python 3.6.3, I think. I was using 3.7, but I didn't like how some of the dependencies were working out. But yeah, so this just basically monitors certain keys, and not just that, because it would be stupid simple if it was just something where push button, receive, bounce. So like if I just, for instance, press a button on my key, that's dumb. Like, okay, cool, everybody's got a soundboard, big whoop, no big deal, who cares? What really is interesting is that this respects the same rules as Overwatch does in order to determine if you're doing a super jump in game. So it monitors multiple keystrokes and the timings for those keystrokes to make sure that it's playing the sound at the correct time, rather than just simply playing a sound when you press spacebar, because that would get obnoxious so fast. But instead, I'll show you guys actually what it looks like. I'm going to jump into Overwatch real quick, and we will switch over. It's booting up right now. All right. Overwatch, where are you? Is it going to display? Let me add the Overwatch screen. For some reason, the window capture is being fun. Source, smart selection. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. I don't know why, but for some reason it decided to modify my Overwatch data stream window capture. I'm moving this down so it looks proper. You can see kind of all the layers that go into this. There's like 15 different layers. Oh, that's interesting. What is that? DLive alerts are eating the whole display. That's why. Oh, weird. Okay. For some reason, the alerts for DLive were hiding the whole display. Okay. Well, cool. So here we are. Enough of that. Now I'm just going to create a custom game real quick. We'll go to here. So for anyone that's familiar with Baptiste, as he is currently, you must hold down his crouch in order to charge his super jump, which will cause this bar in the middle of the screen to appear and charge up. And so that executes a super jump, because your normal jump is just this little silly jump right here. But if you execute a full jump, then Mario jump. So instead, it doesn't always catch it. So this is a prototype. I'm still refining a lot of the process. But for the most part, it's doing a pretty dang good job.
So when you do a jump, it makes a Mario noise.
Exactly. And the fun part is, I'm thinking about adding this for a bunch of other different heroes. So maybe when you use your ultimate ability, it plays like the Super Mario star sound. Like dun, 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 you know what I'm talking about? So I was thinking about adding some of those. But I'm still kind of working on the refinement for this because it doesn't always catch it, as you're seeing. For the most part, it's pretty reliable. But I think there might be a bug in the fact that it's not when it's playing the sound. I think there's a little bit of a delay once it's like it'll play the sound, but it'll like pause checking for additional keystrokes while the sound is itself playing. So that boring, you've got that sound being played, and that actually I'm thinking what's happening is it's pausing the keystroke checker, and it's losing the fact that I've pressed the keystroke, because if I execute it in a certain times, it doesn't always catch it right away. And then there's also periods of time where I think the file system is doing something to the file itself, the wave file that it's playing, causing it to not always play reliably. So like I said, prototype, but definitely really fun. And for what it does, it's awesome. So awesome. So if you guys have any ideas, if you go over to the stream website, bhacks.net, and then use our viewer feedback section, give me some ideas. Let me know what you guys feel maybe I could add to Overwatch, maybe to some other games, because I do the Minecraft stream still. So if you guys think of anything that would be maybe a good event in the game, and then a sound to go with it, like what to play when, by all means, I am all ears. Or anyone in the chat, because I see we've got a couple people in chat. If you guys think of anything, by all means, go for it. I'm up for a little bit of a challenge, and I'm interested to see what you guys think up, because this is definitely a really fun concept that I don't think anyone has done before. If they have, then okay, fine. I'm sorry for not knowing all things everywhere at all times, but for the most part, this feels pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. Even for just a simple amount of code that I sort of hacked together in an evening on Sunday. That's why you guys maybe saw me do my quick upload post on Sunday, and that was just, I was excited. Yeah, it works. So yeah, that's what this is. I'll probably, you know what? Let's get into a game and just see how it looks and feels. Mystery Deathmatch. No, I need to be one where I can actually be Baptiste. And the problem is that we've got all... I suppose the total mayhem would be pretty cool. Let's try that. So we're gonna hop in. I'll switch off the info download flag here. We'll hop in the game and have a look while we're waiting. Oh, I think we're gonna get a notice from the Amazon Echo that the traffic is crappy outside, if it hasn't already triggered. All right. All right. Let's see. It's exciting. I haven't really...
BTWM on Xbox, not PC.
Hey, I feel you, man. I used to be an Xbox player myself. Yeah, feels bad, man. Feels bad. But you know what? It's there's definitely a lot of merits to play on lots of different systems. For me, for what I do and what I, the pen testing and the hacking things that I do, for me, it's great to have one PC to rule them all, instead of having a box here, a box there, so to speak. But yeah. That's the other thing. I used to have an Xbox, but I just found that I wasn't spending as much time on it as I wanted to, because I couldn't do the kind of things I wanted to do with it, like this kind of stuff. That was years ago, though. I think that was actually well before the Xbox 360.
there's quite a lot of delay on the message.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's actually the stream delay. So depending on which service you're watching me from, I think YouTube I have ultra low latency. Twitch I have ultra low latency. I'm not sure. There might be a few other. I can't remember which services I've set ultra low latency on. But that's actually a delay imposed by Mixer, in your case, to keep you from having to buffer so much. Let me just... I'm not going to play quite as seriously as I normally would, but I just want to kind of let you guys see this. See, it's not always catching the keystroke, but there are plenty of times where it works just fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I get it? Can I get it? All right. Boring. Yeah, you can thank my Overwatch coach for this idea, actually. Because yeah, I was coaching with him on Sunday and had the idea to... He saw my Mario sound. He saw me like manually triggering it. But he was like, why don't you make it so that you can actually have it auto-trigger? I was like, oh, challenge accepted. All right. Is that a Bob just sitting there shooting me and me ignoring it? I love it. This is so fun just by the sound. Is it coming through on your guys' end real well? I wanted to kind of make sure. I feel like it is. It should be. Like you can hear it through all of the noise and everything. If I can just aim, that would be great. Okay, thanks. What are you doing, dude? You're gonna die. And you can... I am seeing there might be a little bit of a delay after the sound plays. Oh, that's interesting. Because I think maybe... not sure. I'll have to play around with it a little bit more to see. This is just a prototype, like I said,
It
so...
must have took really long to code.
I mean, it took a long time to get where I could code that quickly, I'll say. It's not as if it was something I could just do overnight. It is something that I've been coding for a while. I wouldn't consider myself like a developer. And I know some people are like laughing their asses off when they hear that because it's like, well, of course you're a software developer. You do that, right? It's like, well, I'm self-taught. I never went to school for coding. I never went to I didn't really have that much time in college. Most of what I know because I trained myself. And it took a long time. I mean, I've been doing IT, information technology, computer-related stuff, hacking, things of that nature for, I think we're going on, it's almost 15 years at this point. Like I think it's like, I want to say like 12 years, 12 years-ish. We're getting there, depending on how you count it. But yeah, I've been doing this for a while, and it's kind of one of those things where practice makes perfect. Yeah, go ahead. What? What's up? By all means, I love the questions. It is an AMA, after all. Oh, there we go. Come on. Oh, can I get him? Can I, please? Must. You gonna pop ult? Is that what you're gonna do? Get out of here. I just realized this is total mayhem, so this should be... I don't know. I feel like this should be more crazy than it is. It feels almost like a regular game to me. Maybe it's because I'm playing it like a regular game.
If you went into game chat, would they hear the noise?
No, they wouldn't. So that's a key distinction here. So... I was kind of explaining that at the beginning of the stream. There was I was kind of just explaining why this is allowed for Blizzard, as far as what they would consider like not a hack to the game, like something that would be bannable, and that's because this actually doesn't hook into the game. The game has no presence of this. The game has no... Ooh, look at this. Is my first death going to be because I got hacked by a Sombra? Irony. So now what you could do, in theory, is make it so that if you were to create a virtual mic, so there's one particular device called Voice Meter. The Voice Meter, it's called Banana, it's the name of the service. You can set it up so that it will redirect audio from one portion, kind of like a virtual audio cable. You can redirect your sound output from one place to another.
It's not an advantage.
Exactly. Well, sometimes it's tricky because sometimes when we're talking about what's not allowed, Blizzard has a very broad definition of that, and that's pretty much anything that touches the game. And this doesn't actually touch the game. And I proved that at the beginning by just simply executing the sound outside of the game, because it doesn't care if the game is actually even there. It doesn't even check if Overwatch is loaded. I could probably have it do that. That wouldn't be too bad. But what I could do, if I did want people to hear the sound, and I could do that, make no mistake, I could do that, is I would have a virtual audio device and have that set up to send audio from a virtual mic into another virtual device. So I would say, it's kind of a weird concept. I would have my mic, my actual mic here, bound to a virtual microphone device that I could also bind my Mario sound generator as well. And what would happen is any sounds that are generated by anything that's pointed at those sources would get sent into voice chat. And so I could actually make it so that other people hear my Mario jump in game by sending that as if I was talking through the voice chat in the game. So it is a thing we could do. The problem is I don't know if I want to, because think about that. Think about this for a second. What would happen if you're playing in game and you hear this Mario sound just randomly playing, and you don't see me jumping, but you just hear the sound? I think you would just be annoyed, like, why is this guy playing the Mario sound? So part of the reason why a lot of the sounds in games don't bother us is because they only play when they're relevant to us. We're talking about voice comms, they're always heard throughout the whole game, so I could just be jumping around and people will hear it, which I guess maybe for some people that's like, oh yes, that's the ultimate. But see, then the problem then is people would just mute me, and I'm trying to get better at shot calling and leading a team over voice comms, and so if I'm sending this garbage Mario sound all the time, it might get annoying for some people. And they mute me, defeating the purpose. But yeah, so that's really what I wanted to show you guys, was what went into that. And there's a number of other things that I'm working on right now, all of them in Python. Python is, and I mean, I'll show you guys. Python is my preferred language. I am big on programming Python because, for one, I've programmed in Java, and I really don't like how Java is so greedy with resources. Python is interpreted, but you can do some fun stuff to make it behave very much like a full-blown like C++ or C program, doing some things like compilation-esque things. For instance, this program that we're looking at here is, let me pull it out of the storage bin it is running out of right now. So that's under my development directory and tryhard. So this is Project Tryhard. All these different development tools, all these different things that I'm making for making the stream a little bit better. So let me go into the distribution. So here it is. This is KeyWatch.exe. Like, it's actually, this is a Python program. And people would say, well, but that's not a Python program, it's an exe, it's .py. So for those that aren't familiar, a Python program it's a script in a lot of ways. It's a really, really advanced script. And what you're going to see is that for the most part, it's in these .py files, py. And you need the Python system installed, kind of like Java, how you have to install Java to be able to play Java things. With Python, it's the same concept. You have to install Python before you can run Python. But if you've compiled it in the way that I have, what it does is it carries along everything that it needs to execute in a binary package, an executable, just like you would find from like a C++ or a C program or any other compiled language. And it runs all inside of its own little container. And you notice the size isn't too bad. Now, granted, this is a very, very small program. And well, maybe I'll compare real quick. The size of the original is KeyWatch. So that's 5K. So 5K, 5,000, roughly 5,000 characters. It's kilobyte, and a byte is, I'm being very broad here, but in general, that's like around 5,000-ish
like
characters.
Games you need to install it to run it.
Right, exactly, that's right. Yeah, and so the problem historically with Python programs is that if you wanted to give out a Python program, you had to tell people how to go through this complex process of installing and configuring and setting up, and oh, you're running Windows, oh, you're running this or that, you're running a Mac. You can't run it because you got to set up this, and this. All of that gone, completely gone. I've built it down into an executable, and the process for doing that is surprisingly simple. So let me do view. Where is my terminal window? I'm in this presentation mode, so bear with me. Window, I need my console window. Console. Tool windows, there we go. And terminal, all right, here we go. So here is my terminal view. All right. And so this is running inside of a virtual environment that I use for developing. Because the nice thing about this is that if you have anything that it needs to reach out and talk to, this will capture all of those requirements and store them in like its own little neat container, so that if it needs to package them up, you don't have to guess at what it needs, because it's already got everything inside of this nice, neat little environment. So I'm kind of lazy, and I tend to forget, which is why I have a little piece of cheater text here. And this is entirely just me being lazy and annotating notes in the project directory. So let's do project and how to compile Python. So here we go. This is it. So for me to compile, I do that. Well, in this case, it would be, it's going to be keywatch.py. And this is just a text file that I'm up here in the top half. So what I'm going to do is I'm in my directory. So I'm going to do dir, because I'm in Windows, it's not ls. Dir directory, and I want to see if I want to make sure that keywatch.py is there. Okay, cool, it's there. Now, okay, so the thing is, keywatch is running in memory. So I need to close out of the process in memory first, because if I try to compile this, it's going to overwrite the binary in memory. It's going to try to, and it's going to find that it's locked, so it can't. So we're going to delete that. So I've closed out. All right, and now I can compile this binary, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy pasta, Control C, and paste, and that's it. So PyInstaller, one file just says make it into a single file. No console means don't display the console, run it as it's called a headless process. It has no visible output. I also use that for programs which have fancy buttons and interactive pop-up windows and things. Those are helpful for that. It basically just gets rid of the Python console. When you're done debugging the program, you don't need to see that anymore, so get rid of it. And the icon, Blackburn Dev icon, that's my flaming, the B that you see. It's actually just right down there. You can see it on my screen. Here, if I can, yeah, right down there. Yeah, you see the BlackburnHax logo. That's that B. And then keywatch.py just says that's the program I want to compile. So watch this. So what it's going to do is it's going to quickly just go through, and if I had more dependencies, and I want to actually show you guys what this looks like when I have more dependencies. So I'm going to copy the code and recompile it again under a different name, which will force the compiler to change up and rebuild all of the linkages. So let's see here. That's cool. It shows the time up in the top corner. That's really nice. This mode in PyCharm is really pretty. So let's see. Oh, scientific mode. Ooh, fancy. I need tool windows project directory. All right. I'm just going to take the keywatch.py and I'm going to copy it entirely so that I can just recompile it so you guys can see what that looks like. KeyWatch test. Okay. So now I have a duplicate of KeyWatch, which is now KeyWatch test. Okay. So I'll just execute the same thing. Only I'm going to do KeyWatch test. Done. All right. So watch this. It's pretty cool. So this is actually compiling the Python setup by going and getting all of the dependencies, pulling them in, and creating a nice, clean, single file that you can execute. So when we talk about compilation, normally we're talking about taking all of the detail in a program and converting it down into bytecode, which is what processors actually read, versus what we read. So the stuff that we're reading as source code, this is horribly inefficient for the most part for a computer to go through, because it's basically saying ignore, 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 ignore. Oh, here's something I need to care about. I'm going to read that real quick. Ignore, 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 ignore. Because these are all comments and documentation strings, and it's not until we get to here that we actually start processing for real. Like the first actual command is execute. Of course, we get the input statements here, but import statements. But the actual first command that matters for purposes of making a decision in the program is actually all the way down here. So we're on line 33 and we've only just now started to do something smart, I guess you could say. So in compilation, most of the time it's going to take all of these unnecessary components that humans care about, but processors don't, and strip those out and convert it down into assembler or bytecode. And from there, it's able to execute much faster. But within this, what it's really doing is more like kind of like a zip file. If you want to think of it that way. What I would call real compilation is where it strips out all that stuff and it creates that executable, that .exe or that .bin or whatever for your system, and strips out all the human readable components. Whereas this, if you look at it, what we're actually doing, all right, so if I scroll all the way back up here, okay, so here is Windows 64-bit, checking analysis. This is the first one. Let's skip past that. So this is KeyWatch test. This is where we actually start. Okay, so we're initializing the Python environment, pulling in all of the paths and more environment variables, doing analysis on the system. I don't have some of my dependencies and things, my dependency, the proper setup. So it's creating some of these things on the fly for me. It's adding the stuff that it needs in order to make this work, and making those as dependencies in the executable. So if the executable says, I need to be able to see a keyboard keystroke, and the computer says, oh, I don't have that installed, the Microsoft Windows Common Controls DLL really would be what it reached out and pulled. But that's really what that's doing, is it's just saying, hey, I need that. Make sure it's on the system. If it isn't on the system, then don't even try to run. So module hooks. Now we're pre-processing, importing everything. This is some of these are hooks generated by the sub-modules that I imported for doing keyboard inputs. So now it's pulling in even more hooks, et cetera, pulling in the base Python DLL, the core binary module. And so KeyWatch test, keywarn watch test, et cetera. Okay, KeyWatch tests. Interesting. So there's xrefs in there. Huh. So let's actually build a... Oh, that's cool. I have to take a look at that. I think that's part of that is me, some of the add-ons I have installed into my PyCharm, my development environment, the software I'm using to write this. it's actually doing some nice... Ooh, let's see. I'm interested. Let me load this up over here. Stream browser. All right, let's see. You're gonna see that. Sorry about the ambulance you guys are probably hearing in the background. Okay, so this is what it built. This is pretty sweet. So this is a module. This is an add-on I have installed in my my system, which will allow me to see what is using what. And if I'm finding that there's a problem with the service, then I can use this to kind of debug it. Imported Pi input, keyboard Pi input, KeyWatch test. So there's the play sound components. That's cool. It's all kind of just like real nerdy stuff. Date time. It needs to pull in the date time stuff because it needs to be able to determine when I press the keystroke last. So if I hold it down for a certain amount of time, how long did I hold it down for? And it won't have a concept of time if it doesn't have the date time module imported. Funcutils. I actually am surprised that that's still in there. I thought I removed that. Maybe I didn't. Interesting. So it's just all of the things that got pulled in instantly just now is all of this stuff. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. Wow. This is insane. Does this actually show? These are all links. Wow, this is crazy. So that's a lot of data. That's a lot of data. Huh. Yeah, nothing over on that one. But yeah, so that's what that created. Then we're creating, it just basically a zip archive really, and pulling in all of this stuff, building the executable and applying the icon file. Nothing exciting there. And like I said, this is a glorified zip file in a lot of ways. But the key thing that is really important or take away is that it's doing all of this and making it something that's roughly the same size as the original code. Because I want to remind everyone.
The question I'm about to ask has nothing to do with this.
By all means, it's AMA. Ask me anything. This is the rabbit hole episode. We can chase all the rabbits we want.
Do you see skills?
Do I see skills? Okay, so you're talking about skills in Overwatch, like see when, like, do I have the ability to see when a skill is active, or like when Q is ready, or like the ultimate, things like that? Or is that what you're referencing? I'm thinking maybe. Just wanted to make sure I'm understanding it question correctly. Open a new window.
Like GIFs in Mixer.
Oh, well, I think I see some of them. It doesn't always show up like...
There.
Oh, well then. I heard that. Well, hey, yeah, thanks for the follow. Awesome. Thank you very much. Remix it. Hey. Yeah, I wonder why... Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to turn on. My bad. I forgot to turn on the text-to-speech engine for DLive. Let me activate that for you guys. I apologize. Text-to-speech. Where are you hiding? Where did I put it? Live events, DLive. I think that's it. I need to label my bookmark there a little bit better. Okay, activate. Okay. Let me copy. I'm just getting this copied in real quick to activate it. I should have done this before the stream. I just completely forgot. Uh-oh. Verify fail. Try again. Round 2. Let's try to log in. Continue. All right. Huh. Okay. That might explain it. So it looks like this... Fun. Looks like the service I'm using to manage the text-to-speech engine for DLive is a little bit dumb right now. Let me try Firefox. Firefox. Yeah. All right. We'll go over to DLive. Mute. Sorry, this is the trade-off whenever you have lots of security, and this is kind of a teachable moment. The whole idea of more security, some people get really in love with the idea and really start pushing extremely hard for as much security as they could possibly cram everywhere. The problem being that when you do that, you can potentially trade off convenience quite a bit. And oftentimes we find that...
He just created a thing that when you super jump as Baptiste you make a Mario noise. He's just explaining the process.
Yep. Nailed it. Absolutely right. I'm just trying to get DLive's text-to-speech engine working so that you guys can hear and see that easier. Because you can see it in the voice, or you can see it in my, you can see that in the voice or the chat system on the right, but sometimes it's nice to be able to have it speak aloud to you. Oh, weird. Wow, it looks like the service, wow, this is wonderful. So the service that I usually use for tracking the chat, for some reason, just decided to self-destruct. Don't worry, I didn't do it. Let me get back in. I'm just going to have to manually view that one because that's really dumb. So I went to all the trouble to... There we go. Cool. All right. Sweet. I think. Maybe. Is it going to work? Is it? All right. There we go. So I don't have text-to-speech on for DLive right now because it's the service I use to monitor that, and it's not working right now. So I apologize for that. But I can at least see your chat now. So we'll call it a win. So what am I doing right now? Like he was just saying. By the way, if you guys are wondering kind of like what's going on, because there's maybe some of you aren't familiar with how we do it here on our stream. The right-hand side of my screen, I have, right now it's empty, but as we see people chat from different services, you're going to see that chat come in and display on the right-hand side of my screen. If, other than DLive, for the most part, you'll hear Athena, the computer system, my text-to-speech system on this system, speak the text aloud so that you guys can hear it without having to necessarily see all of it. But yeah, so that's what's going on the right-hand side of the screen. You probably can't always see stuff because I have it it makes the chat disappear after just a second or so of inactivity. So I like to keep it clutter-free. So yeah, what I was just talking about, getting back to you, remix it on DLive. He was asking what the fuck I'm doing right now. So what am I doing right now? I was going through the whole process of explaining how I created we'll call it a hack for Overwatch that allows me to play the Mario sound when Baptiste, the new hero, does his super jump. So if we go in game, switch over. All right, pop into Overwatch. We'll go practice range. Oh yeah, that's right. I actually took it out of memory, so I need to put it back into memory real quick. We'll kick off Project Tryhard KeyWatch. All right, it's loading into memory right now. Wait for the spinny to go away. All right, it's loaded. So if I go to Baptiste.
No time on my watch.
All right, so now watch this. So we have to hold it down for and I'm working on getting it to be a little bit more reliable. But for the most part, we're playing the Mario sound whenever I do a full super jump. So the other cool thing is that if this was just simply playing the Mario sound every time I press spacebar, it would get really obnoxious, right? Because then it's just play. No thanks. And by the way, I was just I have another program I wrote, just a quick soundboard type program bound to one of my keys on my mouse that just simply plays that Mario sound. That's what I was using initially, but my Overwatch coach, because I've got a professional Overwatch coach that I was working with. Oh, thanks for the sub, Matt Circular. Very, very much, very, very much. But yeah, so my Overwatch coach this past weekend was making note of the fact that I was playing the sound for Baptiste sometimes, but it's a manual trigger at that time. And so he was like, what if you just made it so that it plays the sound whenever you do the super jump? It's like, challenge accepted. And so now we have the beginning of Mario Baptiste. And the fun part is, what you're gonna see is that if I just press spacebar now, it's not playing, and it won't, because you have to follow the parameters that the game set for super jump. So if I just hold it briefly, no, a little bit more, no, a little bit more, no, still, now. So you actually have to do a full super jump. And I'm working on making this a little bit more reliable, because you also notice right there, it's not just simply holding down crouch and then spacebar, because there's actually a cooldown period, because I can execute that super jump, the exo boot jump, after coming out of crouch briefly. So if I hold it down, all right, that didn't execute properly, right? So let's see, I actually let off and walked a few steps forward, because there's a 1 second delay. That super jump is still available to you in game. So as the game is configured, I can hold down super jump, right? Let it off, and it's active for a second after I've let off crouch. I don't have to jump from a crouch position. Hey, Bazaar! But yeah, so that's the thing is like it's. I was just catching everybody up on this. It's respecting all of the rules that Overwatch uses in order to determine if you're using your exo boots to their full power. To give you the Mario sound. Because part of what my guidance from my Overwatch coach was that I should be focused a little bit on executing complete exo boot jumps, because I wasn't getting... For me, I was missing a lot of my platform transitions. So when I'm like here, I need to be able to get to right there, right? So if I execute a partial jump, I won't make it. But if I execute a full jump, then I will. So he was saying to me, make sure you execute a complete jump. So this is kind of like a cool positive feedback loop for me, where every time I execute it correctly, I get the Mario sound. And you guys get the fun of me jumping over Reinhardts that are charging straight at me, and I just, jump straight out of the way. Let's make it sure. I got the I had a question earlier from where is he at? Where is my stream chat? Oh yeah, Matt Starkiller, yeah. So yeah, it's oh, thank you for the follow, Baza. Baza.
This is some quality content.
Oh, thank you. I try not to be average. A lot of this is just, I am very much overly focused on being type A. Sometimes I can be very type A, very overly focused on doing things to perfection. And other things I just don't give a crap about. And my desk is really messy. But yeah, so that's what that is. And so kind of branching back to what we were talking about initially was that if you guys come up with any ideas, this is calling all nerds here. If you come up with any ideas as to like maybe a hero power that you'd like to see me write some interaction with to be able to make a sound effect, or probably a sound effect if we're honest. I don't really see this as being, I'm not going to be, I'm a white hat hacker, so I'm not going to do anything illegal or anything that would break Blizzard's end user license agreement, because I actually have a livelihood based on hacking, like the good kind, not the bad kind. I stopped the bad guys. And so it would need probably be something that's like a sound effect related item. But if you guys have any ideas, feel free to let me know. And since we're on the topic, have a look. We've got the stream website, which you can access right now. It is available at bhax.net. That's bhax.net, not .com, .net. There you can find my events calendar when I'm live, where I'm live at, because I do stream in multiple places. We've got the interactive calendar, which is always up to date, so if you're wondering what I'm doing. And this is the viewer feedback I was talking about. So you submit your questions there. Have a look. Or if you want, you can also hop on our Discord server and shoot me a question there. That way I can see it after the stream. So sometimes people will send things, and it doesn't always... it's a little bit challenging sometimes to go back in the chat logs for the different streaming services and find where somebody was asking a question or whatnot. But if you'd use one of those services, including, and I am talking about our Discord server here when I say this, I'm actually on the Discord server right now. So if you head over to the dark web server, there is on-air stream chat, and yes, it is active and it is visible in the stream right now. And if you guys had those questions, obviously you can hit me up there, or hit me up directly, either way. We also got general chat. And the idea being that if you come up with anything after the fact, this is a good way to do that. This is a good way to hit me up. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll see you in just a little bit, Bazza. But yeah, so if you get any ideas, that's a good way to do it. And the reason being is because sometimes people are watching this after the fact, or they're not watching it, and they're watching it and they don't want to be in the chat, because some people are, I understand, I'm one of them, not really big on chatting on streamers' live stream chats, because it can be a little bit intimidating, I understand. But if that applies to you, then we've got other ways for you to shoot a message to me if you come up with anything, because I'm all ears. Please let me know. If anyone in chat, anyone watching this after the fact, just let me know what your thoughts are. What other powers would you like to see me do something with? Preferably add something like a sound effect or something. I have the idea of maybe like the ultimate ability, making it so that it's like the Mario invincibility star power sound. Dun, 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 dun. It's like a press Q, and then so I do this, dun, 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 and it does that. I mean, that's what I've been kind of thinking. The only trick with that is that to use your ult, you literally just press Q. You don't have to do any kind of complex sequence of commands like this. Whereas where I would have to crouch in a certain period of time, then press spacebar within a certain period of time. With Q, that one's trickier, because how do I keep it from being where I would just hit Q and it would always spam the sound? So you would just have every time, even when I'm typing, if I typed anything with a Q in the name, and it would just Q constantly. What can you say about me? Right. So if I typed anything with a Q in it, it would still trigger. So I haven't quite figured that out yet. Maybe we could add a timer so that when I press Q, there's a certain amount of time before, like the minimum amount of time it expects before I can press it again, like a cooldown period. I don't really know. There's a lot of ways that I could look at this. So what are the other powers that we got? I'm interested. So we got the lamp here, invincibility field. I could do that. That might work. Oh, you know what? Regen burst would probably be a good one. If you guys have any ideas about regen burst, like what sound I should add to regen burst, I'm all ears, because that one actually would work pretty well. Because I don't really feel like I press shift. I mean, obviously when you're typing as usual, you would press shift, but yeah, I don't think I would press shift a whole lot. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out, because I think that's just infrequent enough that it might work. Q is actually on the I guess it's QWERTY. So how often do I press Q though? How often do I actually type Q when I'm typing? The other thing here is that it might get really annoying for some people to hear these sounds over and over again. Maybe I could have a rotation of sounds for a particular action. So maybe sometimes it's the Mario jump sound. Sometimes it's whoop, 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 from what was that? Squid? Was it SpongeBob? Like the whoop, 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 whoop song sound, like whenever you're escaping. I could potentially do that. There's a lot of possibilities here, and I'm still trying to decide how I want to do a lot of them. I wasn't touching the ground when I pressed it. And I'm also working on some other utilities. There's the one that you guys can't even see right now. It's my dashboard. It's part of my tryhard project. I've got a number of things in here. So if I go to tryhard here, let's go to cancel tools. I'm not used to this view because I'm normally this is like the presentation view of my my development software PyCharm, so it's a little bit different view. So I've got the sound play jump actually became KeyWatch. So actually sound play jump is what happens when I press this specific button on my mouse here. Whoa, get rid of that. Sound play jump just simply does press the button, and that's all it does. It's really dumb. But it kind of led into creating KeyWatch, which became that's the Baptiste sound, which I can eventually add additional listeners to handle different heroes. Potentially. We'll see. Tryhard is... what is tryhard? What was tryhard? Oh, yeah, this was the stub. This is a stub program right now. I kind of flip-flopped and ended up creating it as a separate program. It really just has some leftover pieces from KeyWatch. Like I said, this is really early prototyping stage. I've also got a stream status light. So I've actually got a physical light at my place that says when my stream is active, mostly for visitors and my wife, so that whenever they come home, they know that I'm actually recording. In fact, let me make sure. Yep, the light's on. It actually illuminates red and says on air. And that really all that is just it's a system that I wrote for XSplit that allows me to send a call to my light controller to turn on the light. So overkill, yes, but lots of fun and looks really, really cool as well. And it's really useful because a lot of times you'll hear my wife come home and she's like, "Hey, oh, he's on the stream. Whoops." And so she knows when I'm recording, right? So that's what that is. I think that's all of those. Yeah. Sound play jump. Yeah, I think that's all of them. I've got some other stuff that I'm looking at right now. So like dashboard.py is the service. What it's doing is I can't move it onto the screen right now because I made it so that it's a fixed view portal on my secondary monitor, and it displays all of the statistics for my stream. It shows the chat from each service and gives me stream health quality reports and things like that, so that I can manage the stream for all you guys, so I can see all that. With the one exception right now that the one service that I use to monitor DLive is being dumb.
Sorry, I go to hit the road.
Oh, okay. No problem, no problem. See ya next time. We got a stream going on tomorrow and on Thursday, so see you then. Remember, bhacks.net, and our event schedule is up there, so you can see when I'm live. But yeah. Yeah. So that's all I've got for that code. I'm trying to think if there was any other...
Haha.
Wait, what's haha? What is this haha? What you laughing at? How dare you, sir? How dare you? How dare you? You were asking earlier, though, Matt, about can I monitor skills? Is that what you were referring? I think you were referring to whether I could see. I'm just making sure I understand this. Whether I could see Overwatch skills. I haven't really done a whole lot of looking at it because I've tried to make it so that I don't use anything useful out of Overwatch. So I can't. Oh, yay! It's kind of funny. Athena's like, yay! It's yeah, Athena. Say it's pronounced yeah, not yay.
No.
Let's see. I'm trying to see log CSV. Yeah, I'm just looking at these CSV files. Date, time, severity. So I haven't really opened up the Overwatch directory that much. Just because...
Like GIFs.
Like GIFs? Are we talking like you send me a GIF and I can see it in chat? Is that what we're talking about? Because that's easy. I already do that. That's no problem. The only trick is the best way to make sure that I see your GIF is to send it in Discord, because some of these services are a little annoying with how they... Yay. I need to fix that voice synthesis. Yay. It's kind of stupid. Where is... I should be able to see the GIFs, but the trick is, for something like Mixer, I don't actually know what it would do. You can give it a shot. I won't... I mean, if any of it is not good, then it just won't work. Simple as that. Or one of the bots will just say, hey, that doesn't work here. I'm actually... Sub-hype. Do I see that? Do I see that? Do I see that? Oh, cool. So I see... I can scoot it in on the side of my screen here. I can see that. I see it on the side of my screen.
Can you see that?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's funny because Athena's like sub-hype because it just reads the raw text output. Yeah, very cool. So yeah, it's like this is the trick whenever I'm simulcasting to so many services. I have to be fluent in so many different services that it's difficult sometimes. I'm slowly learning. I know a little bit about Periscope's system. I know quite a bit about Twitch's system as far as like bits go and things like that. The hype, I get that. It's like bits pretty much. DLive has Lino points. When somebody donates like a lemon or whatever, that's worth a certain amount of points, which translate. But yeah, very much. Thank you. Thank you. I actually need to make it so that while I'm thinking about it, I've got to add, I need to, a lot of this is just the fact that I'm streaming on so many different services that nothing exists to support that
if you scroll
properly.
Up, you should see a GIF.
I should see a GIF. Wait, where's the? Let's see. Let's go back. Do I see GIFs? I don't. I actually don't. I don't see it. Let me pop it out. Let's see. Yeah, so I don't see it. I mean, here's my view. It doesn't actually show. Interesting. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't actually know what criteria it uses to display those. Did it maybe get deleted, or do you see it on your end is the question? Because that's an interesting idea there. Because this is something else I'm seeing is that a lot of these services, and this is the reason why I made the Discord server available in the first place, because so many of these services have weird things that they've decided are acceptable and unacceptable. Like they'll let you send a GIF, but they won't let you send a whatever, a certain, like a link. They won't let you send, they'll let you send one emote, but they won't let you send another emote. So just put it all in the one and it works. And the other thing is that you'll see that when you're chatting in our Discord server, it does show up in the stream just the same as if you were chatting on like Mixer or what have you. So this is kind of an important feature, especially for some of the people like stream.me. You guys, your chat actually doesn't show up on the stream. But, you know, so Discord server is open, is live. So I'm just send you this, see what it looks like on your guys' end.
Discord server is live.
Live. Come on, Athena, get with the program. But yeah, you'll see that on the top right now, And it shows up?
Well, yes, but no, I can't scroll up in chat, but I'm assuming the text still stays.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the trick. So yeah, if you wanted to send a GIF or whatever, go for it. That's what the Discord server is about. It gives you the ability to do that. Yeah, that works out pretty well. Works out pretty well. But yeah, because it's just so many different services that, like, oh, this is cool. No, that's not cool. Oh, how dare you do that? We don't do that here. I think it was like Stream.me. That's like they don't let you set a description for the video. Mixer's kind of annoying that way too, where they don't let you set a whole lot of broadcast information. They'll kind of force you to set a stream wide setting. So anyway, so I'm trying to see if maybe, dang, loud. So these are logs.
Maybe because you didn't have it activated.
Oh, you have to activate GIFs on. You have to activate GIFs on Mixer? Is that a thing? I didn't think that was a thing. I thought I went through all of those settings. I've tried to be very ADK, indeed, ADK as well. Yeah, I didn't see that I had to enable that. In fact, I'm going through and I don't see any setting for that. I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm the all-knowing wizard of Mixer, that's for sure.
Dad is bad night.
Yes, I know. But hey, at least a lot of this stuff is working for the most part. Let's see. So I'm looking to see if there's any way that I can. I doubt it. Most of this is probably going to be opaque, completely unusable to me.
Dad at his job looks like fun.
Dad at my job. This ain't my job. Well, in some ways it is. I guess you could. It's not so bad. Yeah, I guess it kind of could be. Yeah, interesting. So I haven't really looked through, but I have a strong suspicion that Overwatch doesn't have any sort of output. All right. See in just a little bit there. Segladeo. But yeah, if I had a way to intercept like a file in Overwatch to be able to see other abilities, then I probably could. That'd be actually really nice. And the problem is that the moment we start screen watching, which is what we define as the ability for a program to monitor the output of your monitor and see when something is a certain way, like your Q, whether you're in your Overwatch and your ultimate is ready, it turns that bright flickering blue. The act of monitoring that, for the most part, I've seen Blizzard see that as a hack. Presumably because it gives you some sort of advantage in that you can monitor data in the stream or in the view. And I don't know. It's kind of silly, but I guess I understand where they're coming from on that. Let's see though. I am wondering. Yeah, but if you guys have any ideas, by all means, chime in and let me know. I'm open to suggestion here. Let's see. So that's Project Tryhard. Let's see. Let's go into the next item I have on my list here. All right, and of course we're gonna have a little bit of whiplash going back and forth, but I'll try to keep it relatively on point in terms of we're talking about a topic, but it's okay. You guys can ask me anything. That's what the whole point of this is, so that you guys can do whatever you want, ask whatever you want, and I'll do my best, right? And for anyone that's just joining us, because I do see we have a couple new people visiting us, we are doing our monthly nerdy discussion topic setup where we're going over any kind of interesting news that happened during the week or month. And you might say, well, who cares? Well, a lot of you might not really care, but it might be a little bit more useful for you if it's coming probably from someone who knows what they're doing. So that's me. I'm a network penetration tester, ethical hacker, security researcher, good guy hacker. And I do this literally for a living. My job is to hack into systems before I hack into a system at the request of the person who owns it in order to prevent a bad guy from hacking in and using that same vulnerability. And a lot of times it also means investigating and researching existing viruses, malware, and exploitation events so that I can either leverage those into my own attacks that I can use in the future, make my own hacks, make my own viruses. Yes, I do make viruses. Yeah, that's a thing I do. I'm not afraid to, I do that. But the thing about it is I only use my digital weaponry when I am asked by the owner. Like I am given permission by the person who owns that system in writing that I can do that. And that does bear a quick reminder for everybody. And that is this, real quick. Warning. It is a felony to access or modify a computer system without written permission from that system's owner. To be safe, if you did not purchase the physical device, then you must have written permission beforehand. So I wanted to put that together. That is actually what I spent a little time today doing, because I realized that people maybe weren't realizing the gravity of what some of the stuff I was telling them implied. Because some of this stuff, it seems like a joke. It doesn't seem too big of a deal. And when I say that I do it for a living and all these things, it kind of makes it sound like, hey, he's just changing the oil. Hey, he's just, doing desk work. Maybe he just works at a bank kind of thing. No, couldn't be further from the truth. A lot of this stuff is a felony. We've got kind of a interesting term we like to throw around a little bit in the industry, and that's our get out of jail free card. When you are a ethical hacker, when you're a white hat, when you are authorized by the owner of a system to execute a penetration test or threat modeling event, you are basically given the ability to execute things which would be a felony any other time. And pretty much, I'm not going to try to be a lawyer for the world here, but I would say in most places it's a felony to hack without permission. I have to say that every time because it's really important that you guys know that that's a difference. But yeah, I basically get to do felony level stuff on a daily basis, kind of whenever I really want to, provided I've got authorization ahead of time. I can kind of just do my thing whenever I feel like. And that my day-to-day changes, but for the most part, this stuff is pretty serious. So yeah, I thought I'd just bring that to everybody's attention, because there's a lot of people that sometimes will pop on and they'll ask me, hey, can you get me V-Bucks on Fortnite? I don't do Fortnite. Sorry. I have a stream that I did a while ago on Fortnite, but for the most part, I just simply don't play it. For me, I think there's just too many people playing it, and it's not really. It's like it's been done. It's been done so much that it's a joke. Let me check real quick. I just had a message come in from work. I'm just making sure. Sorry, I just had this quick thing that I need to knock out. It's only going to take 1 second. I just got to do a quick reply. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, sorry about that. Normally I like to keep a lot of stuff tuned out, but occasionally there might be something worth responding to in a really quick. So, let's see. What else? Yes. Back to what we were talking about. So I was segueing into this next component, which is EU Article 17 and 13. And you might say to yourself, oh God, I don't care. Who gives a crap about copyright law? I mean, why? I don't put anything on the internet. What do I care, right? And I'm sure a lot of you might say that. And that's justified. That is absolutely justified, especially with how many people these days have one thing after another that they've got to tell you, oh, I need you to be passionate about this project or this cause or this thing or this whatever. And I understand it's really easy to get fatigued when we hear about a lot of these different things and we just like, what do you want me to do? There's nothing I can do, right? So why would I care? It's copyright law. And even on its surface, it's not even fun. It's just boring, right? But here is some important news I'd like you to be aware of. And that is, with EU passing this Article 17, it was Article 13 initially, so you'll hear 13 and 17 thrown around. We have this weird place where our use of the internet will be a lot more inspected, scrutinized. Maybe censor is a little bit of a strong word in this case, but if I want to put something out there and because it contains 2 seconds of something else that somebody else copyrighted way back in the 50s, maybe something like Disney, looking at you, Disney, then they will have the ability to block you from posting it. Like it's not as if I can say I could put it up, but I don't get to run ads on it, or I don't get to monetize it, or whatever. It's that they flat block, because now it's suddenly a penalty on. It suddenly becomes a penalty to YouTube or Twitch or whatever site you're on to be able to even put this stuff in the first place. And for YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, I get you. Who cares? No biggie. But maybe you use another type of site and you want to post anything up there at all. A meme? Yeah. Images fall into here. This isn't just video content. This isn't just audio content. This is also images. Anything that you post has to be filtered for copyright infringement. And as a result of this copyright law, they are forced to do so, or else they'll get penalized. So you've got sites like overclockers.net. So there's a number of these really, overclock.net, not overclockers. Stupid. Overclock.net. All right. Maybe you're familiar with them. Maybe you're not. It's okay if you're not. This is kind of like a, we'll call it kind of like a OG, if I can use that term, a little bit of an OG site for setting up for setting up your build, maybe overclocking, of course, modding it, things like that. But here's the deal. Overclock.net has been around for a long time. They've got a number of really great articles on everything. This is like, one of the original sites that I personally grew up with and I loved. They've got so many resources. They've got forums, which make up a huge portion of the site itself. And the problem is that every type of site like this that's over, and I don't want to misquote this, so I'm going to pull the actual stats out for you. Streaming EU. So where's EU? EU. There it is. Okay. So EU Article 13/17. It's 17 as the law is written right now. The site has to be less than 3 years old in order to be exempt from this law. If it's over 3 years old, they just expect that you're going to have the ability to monitor this stuff. You don't believe me? All right, let's find out. Come on, let's go. Let's do this little investigation here. Come along with me. We're gonna go EU Article 17. Okay, and I want to go to. I would really like to find. Oh, interesting. Well, save your internet. .eu. I guess we're going to find out. Let's see what this is about. I think this is dead on. Okay, looks like we're in the right place. So, impact. Let's see. What is going on here? And only will be able to comply with Article 13 requirements, even if the small enterprises get an exemption from the scope. This simply means that they are not allowed to scale up and compete with big platforms. Yeah. So, the idea here and the reason why this should bother you, and this really should bother everybody, is that when we're talking about this stuff, it means that the creators that you have come to expect on the internet will suddenly be really concerned to put anything on the internet. They'll have to really be careful with that. And sites that you have used for years, maybe not the YouTubes and Facebooks of the world, but maybe sites that are kind of in this awkward middle place where they have a wealth of resources, but they don't have a wealth of money. They're not exempt from this law, and as a result, they have to go through and fight tooth and nail to get their site to stay on the internet, because they'll get fined for every infraction that they don't police themselves before it shows up on the web. Not oh, whoops, we got it on the site and the copyright creator says we want you to pay us or take it down. No, if they don't police it from the start, the overclock.nets of the world, somewhere in between awkward sites like that where they've got a lot of value, they don't have any leg to stand on. So XDA, maybe all of you Android people, XDA developers. Any of you that have used XDA developers know that they have an amazing amount of forums here, an amazing amount. And they host a lot of content that might be seen by some people in the EU as copyright infringement, because they're posting certain snippets of code from, say, Samsung or whatever that are considered copyright. And as a result, because they're not policing it, they get nailed. And so that's really the issue at hand here, is that all of these other sites, basically, you either have to be a tiny site with no usage, no user posted content, no comments, no nothing, or you got to be a mega colossal conglomerate like YouTube or Facebook or Google, because you're either exempt from this, or you can afford to create this artificial intelligence monitoring system or hire hundreds, if not thousands of employees constantly watching the content going on your site and checking it before it posts. I mean, really, think about that for a second. Who can afford that? So sites that you may have come to enjoy might either have to move out of the EU, which there goes jobs from the EU, or they just have to close up shop completely and their use, their service. And so and so here, I'm interested here. So what's this act now? Let's pick one. Let's say Germany. All right. So I guess they'll tell you what you need to do in each of your locations. Really, the problem is at this stage that the law's already law. It's a law already. So what can you do now to fight this? Well, you can do something like this. This is saveyourinternet.eu. And I found it just doing a real simple Google search here. I just did EU Article 17, and this is ironically on the second page, which is kind of depressing. It's like this should be the first item here, but yeah, it's just act now, save your internet here. So there's that. But then there's other services, and I will, I'm not in any way paid by this company. ProXPN. All right, so ProXPN is the service that I particularly like using. They have a really robust network, and you do get the advantage of being able to hop into a server, make yourself look like you're coming from outside the EU. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're trying to upload something or view something and it says, sorry, you can't view this because you're in the EU. Get ready, guys. That's a lot of what you're going to see. Is so keep in mind what's going to happen here is that for a lot of you, when you go to visit a site, it's going to check to see if you're in the EU, and that server that you're visiting might not be in the EU, but they don't want to be subject to EU copyright law, so they just say you're coming from the EU. Blocked. No, not you blocking them blocking you. That's them saying, we don't want to be subject to those laws, so we're not going to let you use our site. You don't think I'm telling the truth about this? It's a real thing. It's exactly what happened with, what was it? The GDPR law. And I actually I really actually do like the GDPR law that the EU signed. Global Data Privacy Restoration Act, I think, or something. I'm not in the EU. I don't know the full name of it. But GDPR is a privacy standard that the EU has enacted, and it's great except for one thing. If you don't have the capability to implement the things that they say you're supposed to implement, you really only have one choice, and that is to just block EU people. So what you're going to see, what you may have already seen, is that some sites, because they couldn't do what the GDPR said they should do, they had no choice but to put code in their websites which just straight up said, oh, you're coming from the EU? Sorry, denied. And they just flat blank the site if you connect, or they'll display a sorry notice, like, sorry. And you think that was bad before. Well, what happens when all of the content that they have to police is not content that they put on the site themselves? Maybe it's something like hundreds of posts a minute. Sorry, bye EU. So that's where this comes in. That's the reason why I bring this up. A VPN will let you come from inside the EU and then go to a server outside the EU for your VPN, and then you can go wherever you want at that point. The sad part is that's the same service that the Chinese have to use. They have a really restrictive government internet, as most of us are really aware of. And so for them to get the real internet, they have to use a VPN, and they have to escape out of the VPN to get to the real internet. And I have a sneaky suspicion a lot of you people in the EU might have that same problem. And what's worse than what we're already talking about now? Well, this is the problem that each of the places that you guys maybe live in the EU have the responsibility to implement this law in whatever way they see fit. So you're going to see different laws enacted throughout a lot of these countries that look completely different from one place to the next. And so you're going to have one where I'm in Belgium and I can access this one site, but if I was in France, then I can't see that site at all, or whatever, vice versa. And that's really that's kind of creating this scene where we've got an internet for one group of the world and an internet for the other, and then one for China, right? So there's let me see if I can get. I really should have like a diagramming program. That would be really nice. All right, I can just do this. So I'll create a blank page. Can I? Trying to figure out how I would. Obviously, I could open my desktop up, but then it's got the Athena backdrop. So what I'll do is we'll turn on the whiteboard right here. So I'll just draw on this freehand with my mouse cursor. So what you'll have.
I can test GIF.
You can test the GIF? All right, go for it. Do the thing. Where is... Yeah, I've got it ready. But yeah, so what's going to happen is you're going to see that there's going to be the US. See me just drawing right here on the stream. There's going to be the US. And that's going to represent also the rest of the world. It's kind of hard to say. And I'm going to say, etc. We have technology. Oh, interesting. So it doesn't show up in the burned in stream, as in the video on the stream video, but it does show up in my my interactive, my live stream view. Interesting. Huh. Which is really frustrating because it's like, crap. Can we get some consistency here? Dang it. Oh, wow. You had to use a lot of points to put that up there. Dang.
Okay.
Feels bad, man. Why? Oh, 5,000 to put a... Oh, wow. Feels bad. It's like, look at that. Dracula used 5,000. Oh, no. Wow. That's a lot just to put a GIF up. That's kind of ridiculous. That's actually unfair, really. If you want to do it for free, there's Discord. But yeah, so there's the U.S. internet. Yay. There's the U.S. internet. There's China. And I'm drawing this with my mouse cursor. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I'll see you hopefully sometime the rest of the week. We've got a couple of streams going on. Remember, bhacks.net. You'll have the ability to see our stream schedule and our live event schedule. So see when I'm live. Probably about this time tomorrow. Might have maybe Overwatch or Minecraft.
22:49.
Ooh, right now for you? Where you're at? Making sure. It's pretty late. Not gonna lie.
Bye.
I know. It's okay. Thanks for stopping by, though. See you soon. But yeah, so we'll have this internet with the U.S. We'll have China, and then we'll have the EU. All right. So then there's gonna be the EU. Put the little stars. Okay. These are stars that I'm freehanding with my mouse. Actually, not too bad. I mean, they're scribbles. All right, so there's the U.S., China, and the EU. Peace out, my dude.
Bye, have a great time.
But yeah.
Stars.
Yeah, but it's like, because there's going to be like 3 different internets after this. We're going to have the U.S., the Chinese internet, and the EU, because you'll be able to get versions of the internet in each, but the only one that really, I feel like you're going to have the real internet is going to be the US, sadly. And that's unfortunate because we don't exactly have the best internet either. Like, that's saying the best we've got is this pile of crap. It used to be that the EU was kind of like the better internet, whereas and then you go to the US and they were like, well, Digital Millennium Copyright Act states that you can't do blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. Why does that matter? Again, why does any of this matter? I understand. A lot of this stuff is very boring. But it's important that you guys at least know what's happening so that you are not caught off guard. Because this will happen. This is going to be a thing that happens to you guys. You're going to be maybe in the EU. Okay, let's see if I can I change the color? All right, let's say you are in, can I do that? Oh, cool. So let's say you start in the EU, all right? This is you, the teal circle, all right? You want to go to a site like Google. Okay, so Google says, whoa, 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 you are coming from the EU. Well, crap. So, oh, you want to go to that site? Why do you want to go to that site? That's XDA developers. That's not good. They don't allow us. Okay, so we're gonna have to block you on that one. You can't go there. Or if you can, you've got to see this like censored version of it. Okay, so when you go to search Google, suddenly overclock.net either doesn't show up or doesn't show up the way it used to. Okay, well, maybe I want to go any number of other sites. The problem is that same process is going to happen over and over again for every site that you see, because it suddenly means that they have to police their content where they didn't have to before, because they were just considered a neutral carrier. Now they're considered as being a responsible party for that. So yeah, this matters to people also in the US just as much. Because do you think it's just one way? Do you honestly think that somebody from the US, see here's, I'm drawing this little circle here in the US. Do you think you can actually start in the US and then hit something in the EU without first stopping at Google and this wall as well? No. Well, what's happening there then? What's happening there is that any content that you're accessing in the EU has already been filtered out. It never was allowed to get on the internet in the first place. So a site that you did used to access that had maybe an article that you referenced for a thing that you really like doing suddenly is gone. And you're in the US, but you don't have anything to do with this. Yes, you do. You can't do anything about it because this site is whatever is in the EU. So by virtue of that, you are applicable. It's applicable to you as well because it's applicable to them. It's pretty shitty. Pretty shitty. So this matters. And what I was showing you guys, the ProXPN solution, that is a good way for you guys to, if you're in the EU and you're finding sites are getting blocked, ProXPN, it's not free, but you don't want a VPN service that's free, because if they're not making money, then you are the product, right? So if it's free, then it's you that's the product. And you don't want the thing that's keeping you secure to be selling your data or farming that out or in any way making it so that it's less secure because you're not paying them anything. ProXPN's unlimited. They got pretty amazing service. I've used it for years, so I can say with confidence, yeah, they're pretty amazing. They are governed by the same laws as the servers that you're connecting to. So if you're in, say, France and you're connecting to a ProXPN server in Germany, you're still in the EU. So your ProXPN connection will still be filtered. But if you're in France and you connect to a server in the US or the Netherlands, your connection is not filtered. And in fact, it's you're probably going to have a lot more access to the internet as a result of that. So go for it. Try it out. Especially if you're trying to get to these different sites and you find that they're just flat not working. All right. So next topic. Let's see. I am probably gonna take a little sip of my drink here. I need a little drink. I'm just checking my list of things here. All right, let me do a quick, man, oh, I need to recaffeinate, guys. Let me grab a quick caffeine real quick, and we will be right back. I am so thirsty. There's just so much talking. Crack that can. Yeah. Yeah. Gotta get that water, man. Gotta get that water. All right, so there's also this. I want to talk to you about Tesla and their whole problem. So Tesla was just nailed. I use that term very loosely here. So Tesla Motors, people that make the really fine electric car that we're probably, maybe you're familiar with, you probably should be, it's a good idea. But they have this thing where they pay people to hack into their cars and tell them the vulnerabilities. People like myself who hack into these systems, and I'm actually seeing that we do have some people joining us. Maybe you're whatever service you happen to be watching, and you're like, wait, what are you talking about? No, we're streaming. I think we're like 8 different services right now, and so yes, we have a lot of stuff going on right now. But my name is Brandon Blackburn. I am a network penetration tester, a security researcher, and a what you could call an ethical hacker is kind of the loose term there, white hat hacker. I break into systems so that the bad guys don't. And I do that at the request, the direct written request from the people who own the systems. And also, you should probably know. It's worth knowing. Warning. It is a felony to access or modify a computer system without written permission from that system's owner. To be safe, if you did not purchase the physical device, then you must have written permission beforehand. Yeah, so just need to get that out of the way because I want to make sure people are clear about some of this stuff. But yeah, so that's me. That's who I am. And it's worth noting that we do have a website. So if you're watching me after the fact and you're going, well, how do I get in touch? I got good news for you. All right, so we've got our stream website. It is at bhax.net. That's bhax.net, not .com, .net. And you can get our live stream schedule there. You can also see where we stream to because we do stream to quite a few places. We have our interactive calendar here. And we've also got the viewer feedback that allows you to interact even if you're watching this as a recording. We've also got our Discord server that allows you to hop right on and get in touch during the stream and after. So that is our stream website. That being said, because I am who I am, I have to kind of stay in the loop with security news. I don't say kind of, I definitely have to. That's a major part of my job. I have to be aware of what's going on and be able to respond to those threats. And as long as it means getting a little creative. But some of these things, security researchers like myself, we have this idea that if we find it, then it will prevent the bad guys from finding it first, because we don't know if those bad guys have already potentially found it and not told the world, or the world hasn't found out yet. So the idea here is that we need to break things in order to find where their weaknesses are, because someone else is going to break them regardless. And when they do, you might have some really unforeseen side effects. And this matters because when we're looking at, so I'm pulling it up right now, Tesla hack stickers. All right, so have a look. I want you guys to see this stuff. Hackers use little stickers to trick Tesla autopilot into the wrong lane. Forbes. It takes just 3 stickers to make a Tesla drive into oncoming traffic. Extreme Tech. Cyber Gizmo. Whatever. All these sites goes on and on and on. Well, why? Why does this matter? Because it's not true. All right. So here's the problem. They use those stickers. I'm gonna totally at Forbes here. This is Forbes. Get your shit together. All right. Elite hacker. They're doing their job. I don't know if elite's a little bit of a exaggeration here. So they're making all these different presumptions that first researchers sought to make alterations to the lane markings first by adding a large number of patches to the lane to make it appear blurred. It worked, but as the patches looked too conspicuous, okay, fine. Okay, so I'm trying to read here. Okay. Technically ingenious cybersecurity research. Okay, so Keen Labs, widely regarded as one of the most technically ingenious cybersecurity research groups in the world, developed 2 kinds of attack methods to mess with autopilot. Okay, fine. First, the researchers thought to make alterations to lane marking, etc. We detect lane. Okay, but what am I missing here? There's got to be something that's missing here. They're not talking about any of the technical stuff that they had to do to the Tesla in order to get it to that point where it was able to do that. Out of the box, the system does not support that. If we're looking at this Tesla and we say to ourselves, this is unsafe because all I got to do is go get some special stickers, put them on the lanes, and people just crash into each other, right? Because that's what this leads you to believe. If we read the headline, hackers use little stickers to trick Tesla autopilot into the wrong lane, presumably to kill people, right? Except they make this really huge claim that Keen Labs, widely regarded as one of the most technically ingenious cybersecurity research groups in the world. Well, if they're so ingenious, then why was the ingenious part just stickers? That's because they had to do a bunch of hacking to begin with to get it to that point. So they had to do a bunch of things to do what's called hack into the CAN bus, the car area network, as it's called. So the CAN bus gives you the ability to interact with all the different services on most cars. Newer cars are going to have more sophisticated CAN buses. And then there's also the infotainment system, which is typically isolated by a firewall from the CAN bus. So a lot of people will go in through the CAN bus, punch through the infotainment system into the CAN bus through the firewall, and then access the inner workings of the car's engine, brakes, acceleration, turning, all of that stuff. using the CAN bus, accessing it presumably through your car stereo. So the trick here is that they had to go through all of those steps in order to make this work. And I think it's doing them quite a bit of disservice to just say they got some stickers and made the Tesla crash, because they did a ton of work on the other side of that, technically, to override some of the security mechanisms in place to force this system to respond to those stickers the way that they wanted it to. And they ended up having to use the stickers only after having gone through a bunch of processes themselves, trying to make it so that they could just hack in and make it do those things. That wasn't sufficient. They needed to use the stickers as an additional way to guide it off of the road after having done all the other stuff that they went through to do this. So I think when people are reading a lot of these reviews, there's this really dumb thing where we try to say to ourselves, I'm scared of self-driving cars because I will get hit and killed. The problem with that logic, for one, is that it's really exploitable by lovely people like Thomas Brewster here on the Forbes staff. Yes, I am 100% adding his ass. Mr. Thomas Brewster here is clearly not doing due diligence to either check his facts or, at a minimum, present the full facts once checked. Because I don't see anything. Let's look at, I'm going to do a control F here. Let's do code. I just did a control F. Code. Where's the code? There is no mention anywhere on this page of any code anywhere. 0 of 0. Okay, code's not found anywhere on the page. Let's try CAN bus. CanSec West. Okay, Canada. Canada. CanSec West. Nope. Nope. Driver can. No. So, once again, where is CAN on this? How about car area network? Literally no mention of code, car area network, or CAN anywhere on the page. Do we have any way of, like, I'm scanning through the page here and I see no mention of any sort of programming, any sort of technical measures taken. Oh wait, what's this? Oh, here is the actual security research paper that he's trying to reference. Tencent Keen Security Lab, 2019-03. All right. So, table of contents, abstract. All right. Remote steering control, CAN bus system, APELT. This is, but wait. If this is just stickers, then why would car area network be referenced at all? I don't understand. Oh, wait, there's more to this than just simply putting some damn stickers on the ground. So, this is, I mean, I give them the utmost respect. These guys over at Keen Lab knocked it out of the park. Beautiful. Please continue. Please keep continuing to do this. This is a great thing you're doing as a service to the world. It's a great thing. I like that they found this because now it can be fixed. It makes the Tesla that much more safe to drive. But then you get these wonderful people like Thomas Brewster here writing this wonderful article that makes it sound like putting damn stickers on the floor is going to make your car crash. And it causes people like, it causes Tesla to have to do damage control for bullshit. Because this is bullshit. This is truly bullshit. Use little stickers. Does that look like sticker to you? I mean, maybe we want to read through the abstract. Oh, by the way, Python. That looks like pragma. Yeah, struct. Wait, no, that's C. Yeah, that's C. Sorry. Look like pragma is a kind of a universal term. So if else. Yeah, this looks like C code. Yeah, and it to me, it's insulting to say that they use stickers to accomplish this, because they did some amazing stuff. They even had it to a point where a gamepad was able to, like, you could use a little mobile gamepad to control the car. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. And so they also hacked in part of, as I understood it, because I didn't have a whole lot of time to get really into the technicals of this. I was checking to see is what sites like Forbes is what they're representing accurate, and I would say it's patently false. Like, I don't have any problem with saying that, because it's not true. It's just flat not true. Because the problem here is that there's so much more to this than just stickers. Stickers were the end result. Stickers were the icing on the cake. They were the final cherry on top, but they were not it. Yeah. So what does this matter to you? Why does this matter? When we're developing these new technologies like self-driving cars, it's healthy to have a level of concern, and it's healthy to have a level of respect for the amount of things that can go wrong to come together to create a fatal car crash. My headphones keep riding on my ear weird. And that's understandable. I get that. But what's not healthy is irrational paranoia based around just flat false concepts being presented as news and fact on places supposedly as respected as Forbes. And I don't see anywhere on this page where it says it's an editorial. Oh, wait. A Tesla spokesperson told Forbes that it had addressed the vulnerabilities regarding the remote control of the steering wheel. All right, I want to have Athena read this. I want the Athena to read this. Please read, please. Is this worth? It's worth having it read for me. All right.
Update. A Tesla spokesperson told Forbes that it had addressed the vulnerabilities regarding remote control of their steering wheel before the keen researchers had even been in touch. As for the other issues, the spokesperson added, the rest of the findings are all based on scenarios in which the physical environment around the vehicle is artificially altered to make the automatic windshield wipers or autopilot system behave differently, which is not a realistic concern given that a driver can easily override autopilot at any time by using the steering wheel or brakes and should always be prepared to do so, and can manually operate the windshield wiper settings at all times.
So I'm not going to say that there isn't high quality research here, because there is. It's just the problem is it's not on Forbes. It's here. It's over at the Keen Labs white paper, which I plan to fully read. Actually, it actually looks really interesting. But this is like the clinical research, right? So this is like the doctor's breakdown of everything that went into a diagnosis, and then someone like Dr. Oz coming in with a bright smile and a news show and saying, "Oh, you can eat chocolate and it makes you healthier." It's like, no, did you miss the whole point of the rest of the abstract written here? You just basically bastardized my whole paper as a result. And so this is the problem, is that I need you guys to be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of the fact that, oh, here's the sticker thing. Be aware of the fact that just because a place like Forbes, which you would think before they posted something as inflammatory as this shit, not even putting it as an editorial, just putting it as this is news, you would think that they would fact check before they did things or posted them in a way that is, in all honesty, it's like a tabloid. It's like how a tabloid would operate. You know, they would post something and say, "Oh, Ben Affleck has a new girlfriend. Her name is Godzilla." Like, What are you even? No, you're what? No. What? Are you 2? No. And I look at this and that's the same thing I get from that. What? What are you? No, you're skipping past pages and pages of information and pulling out the most, like the last 5 seconds. And this is literally like, we're down to just before the references here. So this is effectively final page and 1 page before the final page that they've skipped to the end, found a funny thing that looks really scary and can get them a good article, and then putting that as this is fact. So here is, I want you guys to, I'm going to have Athena read this as well. All right.
We did some interesting work on autopilot version the 1st of June 2018, based on the previously shared vulnerabilities. We analyzed the CAN bus system on Ape, and then we used the gamepad to wirelessly drive the car, showing the potential safety threat that attacker can cause after breaking into the Ape module. We analyzed Ape's vision system in deep through static reverse engineering and dynamic debugging. Based on the research results, we did some experimental tests in the physical world and successfully made Tesla Ape behave abnormally in our attack scenarios. This proves that with some physical environment decorations, we can interfere or to some extent control the vehicle without connecting to the vehicle physically or remotely. We hope that the potential product defects exposed by these tests can be paid attention to by the manufacturers and improve the stability and reliability of their consumer-facing automotive products.
So yeah, and it's worth noting that they kind of draw the conclusion in certain components of this that with some physical environment decorations, we can interfere with or to some extent control the vehicle without connecting to it. But see, the trick there is they're kind of invalidating some of what they've gone through to get it to that point. It's not as if this is something where you can just, I mean, you just see all of the pages and pages and pages of work that they did. I mean, this is incredible, absolutely incredible amount of work. And the great part is that Tesla fixed it. A lot of it's already been fixed before this even came out. And you can bet that probably by the time you are seeing me say this, it's already either fully fixed or mitigated in some way where it's not an issue anymore. That's the beauty of security research when it's done in public like this. Keen Lab, my hat is off to you in a figurative sense here, because it's great work. And yeah, so that really, this crap really bothered me. And so I wanted to at least bring it to you guys' attention because there's too many of these really interesting technologies and systems that are coming to light that we're just kind of shitting on because they're different than what we were used to. They're scary because a robot is going to take over and we're going to have Skynet. Ugh, you know, it's, come on, people. There is some concern for that, but let's be rational about it and have an honest discussion with the facts, an honest, fact-based discussion before we post shit like this. All right. So we'll go to, let's go to Hyun. Let's see. So there was we had a recent discussion that came up regarding a Android or a set of Android vulnerabilities that are referenced by the Common Vulnerabilities and Exploits MITRE Index of 2019-2027 and 2019-2028. And those are just, for those of you that don't work in InfoSec, those are CVE numbers are how we identify a particular vulnerability, because otherwise you would have so many different things that come to light because we have literally thousands and thousands and thousands of vulnerabilities that are discovered every year, sometimes every month. And so we have to have a common way of identifying them between vendors, between, I have this antivirus and I have this antivirus and I have this platform and I have this platform, and I need to be able to say this is the same vulnerability across all of them. Well, that's what a CVE does. And so, it's worth noting that, so a CVE, this is what one of them looks like. And it relates to this guy. And these, as far as I remember, I don't think these CVEs are actually published yet. Where's MITRE? MITRE Corp. Where's my CV, Davey? I'm brain farting, sorry. And people watching this like, oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. What are you doing, Blackburn? Yes, there we go. CVE-MITRE.org. All right. So this is the CVE database. And so CVE just gives you this nice, comfortable number that you can reference no matter where you're at. And so if I remember correctly, if we search for 2019, 2027, I don't think, yeah, it's reserved still. So this is what a CVE would look like. See if NVD has it. And NIST doesn't have it yet either. Yeah, so this is what I thought. So whenever a researcher or whoever finds a new vulnerability, they would request a CVE ID. They'll reserve it, like this guy is reserved, you see. And then it'll be ready, and they can use it for their publishing of the official vulnerability. Although I'm not sure. I think I need to turn off the ad blocker on this guy. All right, so yeah. So you can see here is what a regular CVE would look like. So the CVE ID here, and it tells you exactly what's going on, what the, any related materials, a basic description of it. It really depends on how much information is known about that particular vulnerability at the time of accessing it. And so this is what one would normally look like. And so this is the current status of this CVE is still reserved. It doesn't actually fully exist yet because it's so new. Why does this matter? Why are you bringing this up? Well, CVE 2019-2027 and CVE 2019-2028 relate to yet another set of really severe vulnerabilities in Android. And this is an AOSP, so this is every version basically of Android, because this is what every version of Android is based off of. Yeah, so we gotta do this update, and you gotta, okay, cool. So what about the discount Android devices that people get from secondhand shops, or they buy on Amazon and they cost them like $50? You got nothing. So this is the problem with Android as an ecosystem right now, is the fact that you are entirely dependent on Samsung, on what are the other ones? We got Nokia. I don't think they ever finished publishing. They were looking at making an Android. I can't remember. Oh, there's OnePlus. There's Huawei. There's God, I'm not going to sit here and try to remember them all. You get what I'm saying here. The point is that there's a number of these people these vendors that put out Android phones. A lot of them are really amazing phones, really beautiful. New Samsung phones, always stunning. The problem is that you are entirely dependent on Samsung or whoever made your phone to push out these updates. Because as we see, we need to check and update your Android platform, or update your Android version. Okay, cool. contact your manufacturer carrier. What? Yeah, that's because unless you've got a Pixel or a Nexus brand device, in other words, a device directly created by Google, looking at the Pixel phone. Yes, the Pixel 3. Yes. Oh, yes. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, cool. But unless you've got one of those phones, you have to contact your carrier for update information. Oh, no. Older devices can't always run newer Android versions. Oh, no. What? Okay, let's see. Oh, crap. Oh. All right, let's say I've got AT&T. All right. Crap. So I'm just dumped here. So now I've got to find my device. And at the end of the search here, does it even mean that I've actually got an update? No. No. See, that's part of it, is that it's also up to your carrier to push the update out. So AT&T needs to get together with Huawei, well, not with Huawei because they're not in the US right now, with LG, Motorola, Nexus, whatever, Samsung, of course. And they've got to make a carrier compliant version. So it comes from Google. All right. So here is Google. All right. Google. Google puts out their new update, and it's shiny and sparkly new, pretty. All right. Now they need to send that update to your carrier. So, well, they need to get to your phone. Okay, crap. Okay, so Samsung. Samsung. It's hard to write with this. Samsung. Okay. So the update needs to come from Google, and then it's got to go to Samsung, who then has to send it to AT&T or whatever your carrier is. All right. AT&T. All right. AT&T. Okay. And then it finally gets to your phone. All right. We'll draw that there. All right. So it's got to go all that way in order to reach you. The problem here, well, the multiple problems here, is that you're going to see it takes a while for Google to put out the update. Once they put the update out, then it's going to take a while for Samsung to adapt it to phones that they've decided they want to patch. Okay, Samsung, let's have a look at your ass. Let's have a look here. Shop. Oh wow, there's a lot going on here. This is a lot. Phones. All right, let's go phones. Okay, they have the Galaxy Fold. All right, so we got the Fold. We got the S. We got the Note. All right, we're keep going. We got the A and J Galaxy. All right, but I know that's not all of them. What else? What's under here? Oh crap! So we got the Note 8. We got the Note 9. We got even more. No, wait, there's even more, guys. All right, we're gonna keep going. All right, so 20 devices. That's 20 devices in their current lineup alone, because I guarantee you that's not all of them. It could be. It could be. No, there's no way. That means they've got to make 20 plus patches. So this has to go from Google up into this shit. They have to make 20 adaptations to this. All right. And then from there, then it goes to your carrier. Oh, good. I'm sure the carrier will push it out right away, and I'm sure they'll be right on top of that shit. All right, cool. So now your patch is going to go down here to AT&T or whatever your carrier is. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now AT&T says, oh, good. I see that you have a 4G antenna. And you've also got, oh, you got the new 5G. Oh, you're fancy. Okay. Oh, but, oh, this guy also has 3G. Oh, okay. Well, you use the dual SIM. Okay. All right. And this particular cryptography is only available in these jurisdictions. Okay. Legal has to review it, because that's going to also impact this stuff. Okay. So now they've done that. And that's if they were able to find your device in the 20 plus devices here, and then make those updates specific for your device, because not all of the updates apply to all of... You have to make specific updates for specific devices, because they don't just one size fit all. And then, from there, it has to go to AT&T, who does even more shit to make it adapt to their carrier system. And then it finally trickles down as a extremely feeble little remnant of what it used to be. It started off as this really really fast updating cycle, and then it got slowed down and down and down. And the problem is, you're assuming that this is even going to make it to you. Because remember, I was very clear, they have to support you. As in, Samsung has to support you. What if they don't support you? What if your device is older? Or what if the people that you bought your phone from, like maybe a Fujitsu, maybe your Fujitsu device isn't supported by Fujitsu anymore because it's a year old or 2 years old, and they don't have the ability to support that anymore because it's the old product line, and maybe you bought it at the end of the time that it was allowed because it was on sale. Oh, I got this new phone, it's great, it's on clearance, cool. Yeah, but we're only going to support it for a year. Okay, so bad news. You went through all that, and your device isn't supported. You don't get the update. Period. So your device is now running out on the internet. Think of having a computer on the internet. All right, you get a computer, and you love your new computer, right? It's squeaky clean from the factory. It's got all the porn you want to surf. All right. Boobies, right? Okay, fine. And then you run without antivirus of any kind. And I mean, like, you've even disabled the Windows antivirus. We're talking, like, because Windows has its own antivirus. Can you imagine running a computer on the internet now with no antivirus at all? We're just going to shoot crap at this thing constantly, and hopefully it doesn't get infected. Because it's pretty much, the life of a computer now is basically always on the internet. So it's under assault constantly by all sorts of people from all different places. They're just bombarding this poor computer, blowing it up, and trying to get it infected. That was my initial attempt to make a cannon, and then it kind of turned into a bug, and now it's got antlers or antenna. So yes, we'll do that. Okay, so now you've got all these infections and viruses that are on this thing. So we know that's a bad idea. You don't run without antivirus of some kind or some kind of protection. You have to update for most of that stuff to work right. Right? You know that, right? If you're not updating your computer, it's not getting any protection. It's protected against old stuff, but when new stuff comes out, it's not protected at all. So you have to keep updating. What do you think your phone is? Do you honestly believe that your little phone out on the internet, permanently attached to the internet, is not susceptible to the exact same issues as your computer? And I think we all know the obvious answer here. Of course it's not. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. Your Android phone even runs Java. That's actually what Darwin's the underbelly of Android is a Java subsystem. So you got this permanently connected, internet connected device that's always on, always connected to the internet, and oh, by the way, it's not getting updates or patches. How do you think this turns out? I think we know the answer. The thing is screwed. And so this is the problem. It's part of why I try to tell people that I am an unwilling participant in iOS. I started off really not liking them. I hated them, in fact, especially like in the early days. I actually was actively going out of my way to try and stop people from using it because I saw iOS as a bad thing. But here's the problem. That line of thinking doesn't consider anything that they've done, all of the work that they've done to make this platform incredibly robust and secure. The secure enclave that they've got, the protections that they have in place, the well-established, they call it a walled garden, is what they call a lot of this stuff. And the idea behind that is you've got a nice, happy place where you're protected on all sides. Your nice, happy place has nice bushes and protections and things like that. It's pretty because there's no crap getting in. So when crap tries to get in, gone. It can't get in because this system is designed to protect the user from the very beginning. Why does that matter? How is this possible? And that's really pretty obvious. There's a reason why I brought up the whole supply chain thing with patches and updates. And it's this. When Apple puts out a new update, and do I have a, I don't think I have. Do I have a, I don't think I have an Apple logo anywhere for me to like eyeball. We're just going to put Apple. All right. Really shitty Apple logo here. All right, cool. So when Apple puts out a new update, does it go to the carrier? Let me see here. Does it go to AT&T or whoever your carrier is? Does it go to some hardware people? Like Huawei or Asus or any of these other services? I think you kind of get where I'm going with this. No, it absolutely doesn't. So when we're talking about AT&T's or Apple's updates, they do not care about your carrier other than, do I have the radio to use your network? Good, thank you, that's all I need, bye. Hardware, do they need to go to a third party to make this update work on somebody else's hardware? No, because it's an Apple-owned device, an Apple-built and produced device. Okay, so what does that actually mean? It means when Apple puts out an update, I guess they don't have that button anymore, the home button. Mine does. I like it. But when Apple puts out an update, they just send you the update. There's none of this shit. None of this shit. Skipped, completely skipped. They're not even there. So when a new update comes out, Apple just pushes it out. You get it, you're secure. New hack is found, you get it, you're secure. Think about what you're doing on your phone. Banking, GPS, so position data, where you're physically at. Purchases, yeah, I see people buying stuff off of Apple, or off of Amazon, sorry. eBay, Maybe you're buying bits on Twitch. Maybe you're buying, any number of things on the internet, and you're using your phone to do that. Are those sites giving you that stuff for free, or are you putting in credit card information? You are. You're putting in credit card. Huh. That's interesting. So you're putting credit card information into a device that has no updates to it, is oftentimes not updated very often, if ever, vulnerable to really fun new vulnerabilities that are constantly coming out. What are we doing? Like, why? Please, Android, I need help. Please give me help. I'm not getting any help. This is really bad because of this reason. And I know a lot of people like, you're an IT guy, you're a technical guy. What the hell are you doing? This is, of course, you've got to use Android. It's the power users platform. Okay. I understand. I really do. I used to root my phones, my Android devices back in the day, and I used the hell out of that. But after stage fright 1, major vulnerability that allowed somebody to just send you a text message, an MMS, and compromise your phone, full control. Then stage fright 2, and then the follow-up attacks to those, and then all of the interceding other things. After stage fright 2 and almost into like the next stages of those attacks, I was like, you know what? This isn't getting any better. This isn't getting patched, and it won't ever be patched because it can't be patched, because the system is itself flawed. And I will go out on a limb and say that. It's flawed. They've made a lot of improvements over the years. They've improved it. But if you're buying your phone from anyone but Google direct, I mean Pixel and Nexus phones, then most of the time it's a crapshoot. And I would say that for the most part, even if you're buying from them, I don't know if, maybe somebody can correct me this, give me the viewer feedback, hit me up and let me know by all means. But I'm not seeing any real heavy support for those really early Nexus phones. Meanwhile, Apple is still pushing out updates for phones that are, what are they, like 6, 7, 8 years old? Phones that are old and crusty as hell. I'm not saying that's across the board. Of course, Apple is not going to support really, really old gen phones, but you're at least made aware of that. It's pretty obvious that you need to switch by that point because the device is so old that it's barely functioning on its own, because apps are constantly getting more and more insane. So you find that stuff just stops working because it's so old, because the hardware just physically can't run it because it's so old. It's like getting a 15-year-old computer and saying, why can't I run Overwatch on my old ass phone computer? Well, it's the same problem. It's the exact same issue. It's like you can't expect old hardware to run new programs so well for years to come. You've got to eventually move forward. But usually by that time, your phone is either crapped out or whatever. But with Apple, they continue to work. And you really only need to switch when you feel it's necessary, or your phone just flat out is not really working anymore. Not because if you don't upgrade, your phone will be vulnerable to viruses and attacks from hackers. That doesn't even exist on Apple's side. And I know that sounds like a fanboy thing to say, but believe me, I was a Android hardcore fanboy. I would go out of my way to flame people all over the internet who ran anything remotely Apple related. If you ran an iPad, I got something to say for you. If you ran an iPhone, yep, Mac, yep, gotcha. I got something to say about that. I just got sick of it. I got sick of constantly ignoring the fact that this stuff isn't getting it's not really getting any better. It's only actually getting worse. And as an ecosystem, Android really has a lot not going for it. It has a lot of problems. There's a huge amount of problems with the Android ecosystem. They create all these problems because they put all these middlemen in between the updates and the phone. And of course they fix that to some degree with phones that they sell themselves. But I'm sitting here looking at a phone setup. Are you guys seeing any of this? I think I see, what is this? Acer, Asus, BlackBerry, Fujitsu, HP, HTC, Huawei, Kyocera, LG, Motorola, Nexus, Pantech, Samsung, Sharp, Sony, ZTE. Yeah. Oh, by the way, also the carriers as well. All of those people need to be on board in order for anything substantial to happen. And the worst part is that a lot of these manufacturers would have to be, as the current setup, they would have to be cut completely out of the ecosystem. They would not be able to produce phones the way they are today. And I say that knowing full and well that there is work being done on Google's part to move the ecosystem forward so that it looks more like Windows and Mac OS, where it's based around we don't care what hardware you have. We just need to make an operating system like Android and package it up in such a way that it works irrespective of what hardware it runs on. And that's what a lot of, that's what basically every desktop computer is based off of. It's not as if Blizzard is out there writing code specifically for EVGA GTX 1080 Ti's or the Core i9 series, right? That in my system, they're not writing code specifically for that. What they're doing is they're writing code which talks to the operating system, which then talks to the it's called the hardware extraction layer, the HAL. So they take the hardware and they present a unified set of controls that the software, the operating system, and the programs that you run can interact with, so that it's presented with a uniform set of controls that can be used on every computer. And then those controls, the people who make the hardware make the integration for those pieces so that your drivers, that's what your drivers basically are doing, they are set up so that your graphics card, your processor, your whatever, can create that common set of interfaces for your software to talk to, and they all work together. And that way you can push out updates for all these discontiguous, heterogeneous environment, and it works. It all just works. And you don't have to think about it. It just works. So that's where Android is slowly getting towards. But it's got a little ways to go. And I'm also kind of PO'd that all these poor people that already have all these phones, they're already screwed. Like, if you have an Android phone today, sorry. I mean, if you've got a Google Pixel or, whatever, okay, cool. Yeah, you're doing good. But everybody else, got any dice? Gonna roll them? I mean, it's really a toss-up because these manufacturers are under no requirement to do anything for you. After you've purchased from them, do you have an existing subscription to BlackBerry? Are you buying an HTC phone and subscribing to them? Why would they in any way want to do anything to make software for you on a regular basis? They have no monetary incentive to do that. Oh, what? Oh, I know what I can do. I'll sell you a new phone in about 2 years. How about that? That way I can make money and you can get your updates. That's the state of affairs today. So yeah, that's my rant. Close rant. Actually, I want to reopen that last one. I actually want to read that. So yes. All right. So what I'm going to do is, I think what I'll do is, I might take a little bit of a break, like an extended, we're going to say maybe like a 30-minute break or so. And then I'm going to switch the stream over to gameplay, and we'll switch over to playing Overwatch. Yeah, I think Overwatch should be fun. Well, it depends. But for anyone watching this right now, we're going to go ahead and finish up this stream. Depending on circumstances, I might have another stream going on shortly thereafter, so stick around. But yeah, thank you, Fritz, very much for stopping by. We'll have another viewer feedback segment, and you can see all of that by going to our stream website. That is at... Is he going to go to it? Is he going to go? Are you going to do it? What are you going to do? Is it going to work? Come on. All right, bhax.net. So that's bhax.net. From there, you'll have the ability to see when we are live, our calendar of events. You'll be able to see where we are live, all the places we stream to, an interactive calendar that's always up to date, shows exactly what's happening, and a viewer feedback, which gives you the ability to respond and send in questions anytime you want. And we've got our Discord server, because that's just where you like to send stuff, right? Voice chat and all that fun stuff. All right, so that's bhax.net. That's the stream website. There's a bunch of other resources on there that I didn't even get to, like the ability to see the build setup that we've got. You can do, we've got our donation services. Yes, it is actually a donation, right? It goes to Children's Miracle Network. All proceeds for this go to Children's Miracle Network. And because, you know, I don't need the money. But so yeah, that gives you guys a bunch of different resources. That website is entirely for you. Yes, you watching this right now, it is for you. There's no ads. I don't make any. I literally lose money on that site. It's actually just a resource for people watching my streams, presentations, and live events and things. So that's all for you guys. Take advantage of it. Use it. But yeah, if I'm feeling up to it, I might continue up and do a Overwatch stream coming up after this. But other than that, thank you very much for stopping by, and I will see you guys. For this, it's going to be next month, because we do this once a month, usually on the first Monday of the month. So, yeah, all things considered, I will see you guys in a month for our next viewer feedback special. So send in those questions. We got plenty of time to review them and get everything in. So I'll see you guys soon.